It's a Wales through a goal. Slots it beyond Foderingham. And the Millers are in front in the South Yorkshire derby. And for the first time in 42 years, Rotherham United win at Bramall Lane. On the edge of the box for Duffy. He can hit them. And he does. The Dolphin! Has scored an absolute screamer for Rotherham United. Rotherham United have secured their championship status for next season.
Do me a favour, drop me off in Rotherham.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. This is New York Talk, the Rotherham United podcast, and there's another signing to talk about. We were here like 3 or 4 days ago. May's meant to be quiet. Nope. Steve Evans has got the checkbook out and brought in another signing, Sean Raggett this time. We will talk about that. We'll talk about a few of the rumours that are floating around and anything else that's tenuously Rotherham United related. We will talk about that as well. Mick's back. How are we doing, Mick?
I'm all good, mate. Thank you very much. All good. I got my voice back. Things are starting to take a turn for the better.
Good. That makes a change.
Yeah.
Danny's with us. How are you doing, Danny?
I'm doing all right. How are we all?
Very, very good. Danny's in a mysterious location.
Yep, the Wi-Fi has been playing up, so I'm off camera tonight, lads, so you can hear me properly.
We'll see how that goes. What can possibly go wrong? I've got YouTube viewers with us. Good evening, one and all. Can't keep up with all these signings. Martin Holland says evening, so does the Millers 66, as does John. Kelly Phillips says, how do we do? Paula Rhodes is with us. Alan Cox is with us from the Legends Bar. Steve Gundy, Noel Jordan, Darren Cook. Powmad. Powmad says we need to get rid of the intro because it has bad memories of last season. We'll see.
That is true.
That is true.
That is very true.
Yeah, I'm sure we can find some happier moments to talk about to reference in the thing. What's
Really?
intro? Well, not from last season.
I'm going to say.
Yeah, we just put highlights of the Cardiff game on.
Yeah.
Not a bad shout, actually.
Yeah. Let's start with some good news. Alan says, well done to the Rotherham women's on their plate. Yeah, cup win. They won the plate. I can't remember the full name of it, so I ain't got to pre-say, but they won a trophy. The double, including her game to Shield, which won a few weeks ago as well. That's another Rotherham double if you include Parkgate as well. Just the senior men's Rotherham United team that's letting the side down. But yeah, congratulations to Rotherham women. That's a no matter what you do in your league, and they're not done bad in the league. If you come on with a trophy at the end of the season, it's a good season, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Only two.
Yeah, absolutely.
Particularly when you beat Pigs for another one of them. I mean, for one of them, it's kind of that's like cherry on top, isn't it?
Yeah, true. Gaza, I think it's Sheffield Fire says he says good morning from Ellesmere, Queensland, Australia. He's back in Oz until late July for the State of Origin. And you rugby league fans,
Lucky man.
What that is. Yeah, let's start with signings, Danny. Signings, and some more signings. We liked. They say don't go back. Rotherham United just ignored that for this summer. Steve Evans, Johnson Clark-Harris, and now Sean Raggett has made a return. He is a champion. He just won the league with Portsmouth, as well as Joe Rafferty. Happy with Sean Raggett, Danny?
Yeah, I think so. Not forgetting Reece James as well. He was here for a short spell as well. But looking back at the stats from Sean Raggett, he only made 10 appearances or so for us.
Yeah.
Back when he was on loan. So he's in the same bracket as Reece James, really. You know, like he didn't really have that much of a long stint with us, but he's come back. But he was quintessential in Portsmouth's season winning team. He's been there for 5 years, if you include the loan spell that he had there as well. And yeah, he's come back to us. He says he wants another promotion on his CV as well, and he feels like he's we are the place to do that. So I'm quite excited to have him back, if I'm being honest, because he seemed such a solid centre back when he was here first time, and I know that was 5 years ago or so now. But coming back into this team is partnering up with Joe Rafferty again, who was also quintessential in Portsmouth's title-winning season. Yeah, I'm quite excited to have him back, if I'm being honest. It was a signing that I actually didn't see happening, to be honest. I didn't think we'd pull it off. I thought Raggett would go somewhere in the Championship or somebody else in League One potentially, but I didn't see him coming to us. So, yeah, I'm really happy with it, to be fair. Very happy with it.
Kelly says Steve Evans can't be that bad to play for after all. At least 2 of his signs have played for him before, or 3 now. Yeah, I suppose there's that. Money talks, I suppose, as well. But anyway, make it about dimension. He played for us on loan under Paul Wood's first League One season. He played 10 times. To be fair, he was stuck behind Richard Wood and Semi Ajayi, from what I remember.
Yeah.
So it's understandable that he weren't getting the minutes. But there was a player in there. It was a Richard, for me, from what I remember, he's a Richard Wood type player. He's a wrecking ball from front and back. He seemed like an organizer. I think pretty sure he lost a tooth, whether it was with us or somebody else as well. So he's not scared to put his head in places where it's going to hurt. And you seem like you need those characters around the building, which that's maybe a character we've been lacking a little bit. It's
exactly what we've been missing all this season, isn't it? You know, in central defence particularly. So, and it looks like you've got 2. Both of them come from Portsmouth, who've just won that league. So, yeah, you're right. I mean, when he was here before, it was quite clear that there were a player in there. You know, and I think, if memory serves me, we were all quite disappointed that we couldn't keep him. So, yeah, I mean, it's clearly a good signing. He's done it. He's just literally done what we're looking to achieve. As the lad that's coming with him. So, yeah, it's another good signing, isn't it?
It seems it.
It hurts a little bit. I'll be honest. I can't deny it. I can't deny it. But what can I say? You know, I have been wrong before. I remember it quite well.
It was 10 years ago.
So yeah, here we go again. Let's have a look. You know, there's a long way to go before the season starts, and a lot more signings coming in through the door, I'm sure. And to be honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised to see some go out the other side as well. But anyway, so far so good.
It is, absolutely. And Nick says I remember him being great for the time he was with us. Yeah, that's my resume. Nick adds what you said, make 2 defenders that just won the league clearly know what's needed.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think we talk certainly on our private chat, Danny, about the average age needs to be lowered, and that's something that's been referred to by the club and Steve Evans previously. But then again, part of me goes, well, the good 23-year-olds aren't being released on a free, are they? So you're not going to sign those young players in May. You're going to sign those again later, at the same time as the loans, maybe later on in the season, later on in the close season. Sorry. So maybe don't read too much into the age of necessarily these players as a general overall squad picture, maybe.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, who were our centre backs before Raggett signed? We had Humphreys, who still he's got a year left, has he, Humphreys?
Yeah, at least a year. Maybe an extension. I'm not sure. Yeah.
So there was Humphreys. Doffin can play there potentially, but he's more of a midfielder in everyone's opinion, really. McCart, but he's on the transfer list. So, you know, who else is there really other than Jake Hull? But is he ready for a starting berth? You know, so I think bringing in the, I mean, even with them being 30, it's not like they're completely past it. I mean, it's still younger than the other centre backs that we had. But we've sort of signed the players who know the division a lot more and know what they're doing, but it still plays into what I said on the last podcast about Evans doing the 2 in every position sort of thing, which by design means you need 4 centre backs, you know. But yeah, like you say, I mean, signing Sean Raggett at 30, I mean, if he's watching the podcast, take it as a compliment. He doesn't look 30, personally, in my opinion.
Even with his false teeth, Danny.
Yeah, even with his false teeth, yeah. That might be why I don't look 30, to be fair. But, you know, I mean, even in the past Portsmouth seasons, he played 26 in the league last season and then was basically playing every game before that. So he's still got that engine in him, and like you just mentioned earlier, he's still got that desire, that wrecking ball ability. And yeah, it's just going to be a good signing. But I do think it also plays into Evans' narrative where, two in every position, I have a feeling there's going to be one more experienced player, one young and hungry player in each position. Potentially, that seems to be the way it's shaping up, in my opinion. I mean, look at right back, for example, we've got Kyoto and Rafferty, and then on the other side, we've got Bramall and James. Like, it's just starting to shape up a little bit that way. But I honestly do think Raggett's got that engine in him where he'll be a real asset in this division. And personally, I'm quite surprised we got him. It came as a bit of a shock to me, personally. I just didn't expect it. I didn't expect that level of League One quality this early in the window. I was expecting, other free agents, if that makes sense, and Raggett to really wait and weigh up his options. But, that's signing number 5 before June. That's crazy. And every single one of them is quality signings for League One. Like, I don't know what Steve Evans is selling these players, but it's working.
I remember talking to Carrie Arneson about Steve Evans, the salesman. If you haven't listened to the Carrie Arneson episode, you could listen to the Carrie Arneson episode anyway, because Carrie Arneson's a lovely guy to speak to and a legend. But he drives a hard sale, does Steve. He knows exactly what he's doing, which is why he signed 90 players, or whatever it's going to be in 2.5 years. That's what he does. In terms of the age make, there's a balance to be struck. There's a big balance to be struck. You look at teams like Peterborough, who seem to be, and again, this is an outside look that may be wrong. If players get too old, they're kind of not interested in them anymore because they've got no sell on value. Whereas Sean Raggett, to use an example, is clearly an extremely useful player and valuable, in a different kind of value, but a very valuable player to have around the squad. So you need these kind of players. You need these age of players to have that experience rather than just buying all the 22-year-olds that are available in League Two, for example. This mould of player is right.
It's a balancing act, isn't it? It's an absolute balancing act, and a balancing act that Matt Taylor didn't get right last season. If Matt Taylor could have signed another 3 Lee Peltiers, happy days. Because whilst Lee Peltier were 36, he got masses of passion and desire to win, but he didn't. Unfortunately, he signed the likes of Sean Morrison and Grant Hall, who, whilst they got the ability and a similar sort of age, didn't have that fight, didn't have that passion, and also didn't have were made of glass, essentially, So looking at the players that Steve Evans signed, the personalities are as much as important as their age, and it appears that he's signing players who do have that fight, who do have those balls, if you like, for the want of a better term, and a desire to win, and a desire to prove themselves at a higher level. The ones that Taylor brought in had already proved themselves at a higher level and clearly came here thinking they got nothing else to prove and took a wage, which cost us massively. So he's certainly approaching it from a different point of view in terms of the age of the players that he's already signed, and it's early doors. And you're absolutely right. Any of those young, hungry players that Danny's just talked about there are not going to be available until possibly even August. Until the Premier League and Championship sides have sorted their squads, and that's when you're going to start looking at being able to get some of those younger and hungry players on loan, or possibly even by transfer. But it pains me to say it. It really does, given everything that I've said about Steve Evans, and I stand by a lot of it. However, he's got off to a flying start. We know, all of us know, whatever your view on of Evans is that he can talk the talk, and a lot of the time he talks for the sake of talking. But at the moment, so far, he's actually walking the walk as well, isn't he?
Yeah.
Which is, I'll be honest, I didn't expect to see that. So I just expected lots and lots of talk and waffle, which we've had. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So,
We'll come on to that. Kelly Fobbs says it's uncontrollable, Mick. I'm not sure either. Just go with it and enjoy it. That's all you can do at this stage. Yeah.
You're supporting a team that Steve Evans manages. You've got two choices really. You either walk away or you just enjoy the roller coaster and hope that it finishes on a high and not crashes and burns off.
Yeah.
off end. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Paul Rhodes, could be worse, Mick. You could have got Rooney. That is true.
Yeah, very true.
Rooney's the best managerial agent that's going in the country right now. Failure, new job. Anyway.
I mean, I'm surprised they hadn't gone to Bayern. Actually, maybe they lost his number and ended up with Vincent Kompany instead. You know, get Premier League club relegated reward. Well, come to Bayern Munich and manage us. You look relegated and all.
That just plays into the German league being the farmers' league completely. Like, oh, you've been relegated from the Premier League, you can go and manage one of the best teams in the Bundesliga.
Yeah,
it's like it's not good for the stereotype, but anyway.
Yeah. The 2025-26 Bundesliga 2 champions, Bayern Munich.
Yeah. And it comes in with Sean Raggett says Sean Raggett's stats show that he won the most aerial duels in League One. Somebody said to him, yeah. That's Sean Raggett. You know, he's the Richard Wood type player. He's massive and he'll win and go for absolutely everything. And again, we didn't have that. There were not many people putting the bodies on the line last season, as you mentioned, Nick Mick. Sean Raggett will put his body on the line for the cause. It also had to receive any people didn't aware of this. Remember, even when Lincoln got to the quarterfinals of the FA Cup when they were in non-league, Sean Raggett was a big part of that run as well. I think he scored. I think he might have scored the winner against Burnley. I think. So if you can help us have a cup run for once as well, that'd be amazing.
We don't want one of them.
We do. I want to see what the fourth round's like. I can only imagine at this point what the fourth round's like.
I can tell you exactly what it's like. It's exactly like the third round, only crapper because you get beaten by a better side. It's just, you know what I mean? We don't need it.
Okay. I'm not going to take your word for it. A fourth round, please, Steve Evans. That's what we want. Tom Kate, when we talk about the people in experience, he says Barnsley like that. Their oldest player was 28 last season. Yeah, it's a balancing act, and I think a lot of certainly modern day clubs are thinking, well, value is everything, monetary value is everything, and it's not, is it? I think that's where Steve Evans will be a success, or where he reads the game better than I think a lot of modern day coaches. There is a value, not just monetary, that's important. John, I
think that feeds into the way Matt Taylor behaved and spoke at the beginning of last season. You know, and I think I might be wrong, obviously, because we don't know whether this is true. But in his head, because the players he'd signed weren't on massive wages and they'd not been signed for big fees, in his head they weren't good enough. You know, and he'd been fishing at the bottom of the pond and having to take whatever were left. And the way he dealt with them and the way he called them out in public, just made sure that they weren't going to play for him. So, yeah. I don't know why how did I get onto that? Anyway,
no idea. Joel Jones says, do you think there's going to be any more surprise signs? Well, there's going to be one. It should be one Tuesday, Wednesday next week. Steve Evans confirmed that on Radio Sheffield. And the good thing with Steve Evans is that obviously when Matt Taylor was here and Paul Warne was there, you'd hear a rumour 3 or 4 days in advance who it is, and then it either happen or it doesn't. The thing with Steve Evans is because there's so many potential signings, there's so many rumours. When it gets confirmed who it is, it's a surprise because it was one of those many names or not.
Yeah. I think it's quite interesting that Evans is quite vocal with it, if I'm being honest, because we've seen from especially Matt Taylor and Paul Warne, they were very tight-lipped about who they were trying to sign. But I don't know whether it's Evans trying to show off a little bit, saying, oh, look, we've got all these people in the pipeline. Just stay tuned. Tune in next week on the Rotherham United show, that sort of thing. Or whether it's him trying to instill a bit more confidence in the outlook of Rotherham United to like Radio Sheffield and to the fans and everybody. But it's nice to have a manager saying, yep, we've got one sorted, just needs to pass his medical and off we go. You know, it's bringing back a bit of excitement to the club, you know, and excitement to summer, you know, and it's really getting people hyped up a little bit, which I think after last season, even though Steve Evans is very in tune with getting that sort of reaction from people. It feels like we need it. It feels like we need something where we can get excited over it. Summer, like, yeah, we've got the Euros and this, that, and other, but to have signed 5 players before June, a 6th one on the way, potentially before it ticks over into June, it's exciting. No, it really is exciting. And we've seen so many names mentioned as well. Like you say, Matt, it's a surprise who it is. It might be the guy from Derby. It might be the guy from Barnsley. It might be the guy from Coventry. We don't know. Who is it going to be? It's a roll of the dice, but it's an exciting one at the same time. And then it's down to, unfortunately, us 3 who have very little football knowledge altogether. We just here to start talking about football for an hour to analyse these signings. But at the same time, all the signings we've made so far, we all see where they fit, don't we?
So far.
Yeah, so far anyway.
Yeah.
Until we sign someone from Nottingham Forest, and it's like, well, why have we signed him?
Yeah. I'll tell you what, it's interesting actually. They got a midfielder from Portugal who's pretty good, I've heard. Can't remember his name now.
Yeah. I'll come to you.
It'll come to me. That's it. Sorry.
Nick says we have a really strong squad up to now, but it means nothing unless they do it on the pitch. We've seen it so many good teams in League One not do the business, so I'm trying to keep my excitement at bay. And that's the thing, Mick, and it's important. Right now, there's no football to talk about, so it's fine to get happy and excited. But we've all got to check ourselves a little bit, because come the 5th of August or wherever it might be, that's when it matters. And if he signs 20 players and we lose 4-1 to it, like we did MK Dons in the Championship in the season Stevens eventually left, that's when it kind of matters. So try not to get caught too much in it, I suppose, is what I'm trying to say. You've got to read Steve Evans a little bit, maybe, and we've been there, haven't we?
Yeah, I mean, we got excited at the beginning of last season, didn't we?
We did,
and rightly so, because we bought some quality players in. And here we are again, bringing in some quality players. I'm not really excited this time. I've been bitten once. I'm not doing it again. Because I spent 50%, 60% of this last season trying to defend my own position by saying we've got some really good players, and week in, week out they let me down and let us all down, or most of them did, not all of them. So we just got to sit tight and watch the signings roll in, which we knew that they had to do. Yeah. So it's not like it's not like a massive surprise that this is happening. In the closed season, I accept it's quite surprising it's happening so early, but ultimately this quantity of players plus some more, we're always going to have to come in. So we just need to sit back and look at the quality of them and see what they hope they can bring to us, what they brought to the other clubs that they've played for in the past at this level. But it's going to be a tough season this year. It's going to be a really tough season, it's because there are some strong clubs in this division, some wealthy clubs, and at least one big club in Birmingham City, so it's going to be a tough old league, and we'll have to do it's going to be interesting, but don't get too giddy.
We might. We need to have a sweepstake, by the way, for who the next name drop that Steve Evans drops along the way. We've had Sir Alex. I think that was in his first interview. David Moyes has got nothing better to do than text Steve Evans about signing Sean Raggett, which is interesting.
As you would.
I thought, David Moyes, you're out of work. Go and find a job. Stop talking to Steve Evans and go and find a job.
Maybe Moyes is after Rayner's job.
Possibly, yeah.
It could be after or director of football at Rotherham United. That might be what David Moyes has been aspiring to for the whole of his career.
I remember we've had all this about Brendan Rodgers as well.
Brendan Rodgers, yeah, we have. Yeah.
It's spend a bit of time at West Ham, earn my stripes, and then I can aim for it. I can go for it. The pinnacle of my career will be director of football at Rotherham United. I reckon he's angling for it, to be honest.
It surprised me.
Danny, put that on your rumour list and we'll start get that one out at some stage.
Well, if you dissect it, it's quite a comfort job, isn't it? There's far less pressure than the West Ham job. There's a hell of a lot less pressure than the Man United job that he had a few seasons ago as well.
Not much money is all I'll say.
Well,
You don't
he's
need it, does he?
a
Manuel West Ham.
Anyway, so yeah, watch out for the next name drop. I'm going to go. I don't know, actually, now I think about it. Those are his three kind of go-to. He's done Sir Alex a few times, hasn't he? He's done Moisey a few times. He's done Brendan Rodgers before. I think didn't he sit next to Brendan Rodgers at New York Stadium once when Rodgers' son were playing or something like that?
Well, did he vacated his place on bench to go and sit with somebody famous in stand?
He were banned, wasn't he? Obviously.
Oh, of course, yeah.
I don't know. He'll think of somebody. That'll be Daniel Farker or something about Russ Martin. It'd be Russ Martin for winning playoffs in Championship, something like that.
Don't do that.
Always something. Keep an eye out. And take messages. If we miss the interview and you hear a name drop from Steve Evans, let us know who it is. Because I love a Steve Evans name drop bingo. Let's finish off the final Championship chat of the season, Danny. Championship playoff final is done. Leeds United will have to pay £47 for Championship football again. But Russ Martin's happy. It's just so difficult.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I was watching it over at Alan's Legends Bar. Thank you for having me, Alan. But it really did feel like the lesser of two evils. Like, I hate the way Russell Martin plays his football. I've got that from Mick, admittedly. But at the same time, it's Leeds, and it just feels wrong supporting Leeds. But I think overall, better team won. I think even though Leeds tried to hit them hard, Southampton were just better overall, I thought. And it's quite funny that Leeds have stayed down. If I'm being honest, it is quite funny. I feel sorry for everyone going on Championship away days with their £47 going to Leeds again, unless they agree to, the weird rule thing where you end up paying £20 instead of 47, but whatever. But yeah, I feel like Southampton deserved it more, if I'm being honest. But yeah, let's all laugh at Leeds, shall we? They've bottled it again. Falling apart. Happy days.
I don't have a problem with Leeds. It's just when you play against them. I know some Leeds fans, good friends with some of them, and they're lovely, rational people until you play against them. And then just things, logic goes out. Look at the Bamford thing. Logic just went out of the window by all Leeds fans because it's just odd. And the £47 logic goes out of the window. And Mick, your old mate Russ Martin, he's a Premier League manager. By rights as well, to be fair to him, by rights as well.
Well, you said by rights.
He's not got into the job in the, he's got a team up to the Premier League.
Yeah. I mean, Leeds gifted him a goal, didn't they?
It is, yeah.
And I don't. If nobody's seen the goal, it is got to be. If I were to describe it as under eights defending, I think I've been doing a disservice to just about every under eights team because it was awful defending. He has. It's been a roller coaster of emotion, that game, because it was because nobody wanted Leeds to win. I certainly didn't want Southampton to win. I was bored out of my tree because it was a tedious, boring game. As have most of the playoff games, certainly Championship playoff games have been dreadful, and today didn't disappoint in the dreadful stakes, did it? No. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I don't want either of them to go up. Absolutely didn't. I mean, Russell Martin will get found out. He's been found out so many times this season because the quality in that Southampton side should have easily made top two, no question about it. But too many times he's been found out. And in the Premier League, he will get ripped to pieces. I'd be surprised if Southampton stay with him for a great deal of time in Premier League. I hope they do, because it'll just be hilarious, I noticed situation. Yeah, he struggled a little bit today, didn't he? Because it was raining at start, and I thought he got a bit of air dye in his eyes, and things were going to start to unravel. And then you looked at another bench. Was at 1-0 down. Daniel Farker. He didn't mind because first goal's not important in any game. Doesn't change the game at all. It doesn't affect the results at all. So he wasn't worried. It's just a shambles, isn't it? The whole Championship playoff all the games within it, so there's 5 games, 2 semi-finals and a final, have been absolutely woeful.
Yeah.
And if that is an advert for Championship football, you know what? It ain't a good one, is it? At all. So, yeah.
Have you seen the stat where it says that Leeds have lost all 6 of the last playoff finals?
Yeah, I think there was a stat earlier on that they haven't scored at Wembley since something like 1994 or something.
It's somewhat daft, but in all the playoffs he's played, 1987, 2006, 2008, 2009, 2019 and 2024, they've all lost the playoff finals.
The playoffs are a specialist thing, and I don't know how it works this way, because it does. You look at Sheffield United, another example. Some teams can't do the play. MK Dons, I think, are another one as well.
Yeah.
Some teams just can't do the playoffs, and I don't know why. It's different managers and different players, and it makes no sense. Like 1987 to 2004, 2024, they're still bottling it. Sheffield United are exactly the same. It's weird how these things happen, isn't it?
It is weird, and other teams don't seem to have a problem with it, do we? I mean, they.
I mean, we've been to Wembley 4 times, and we've won 3 out of 4. So
we've had as failures, but then we've had as successes, haven't we? We were able to get over the line.
Can I just say that the reason we had the failure at Wembley was because I didn't go.
Yeah, it is.
So,
what's your excuse for the playoffs in '98 or '99?
Well, let's not get bogged down in things like that.
I mean, to be fair, we lost in semi-finals for that one, so
that was my excuse.
We didn't get to Wembley. That's true. Mike the Miller, Leeds bottled it. Leeds always bottle it. They seem to win the playoffs.
Oh, Mike, you're spoiling for a fight there, mate.
Chris Page, I suppose Cantona the last player to score at Wembley. That'd be funny if it were. Is it?
It was. Well, listen, according to the commentary today, whether that's right or not, but these commentators have their thousands and thousands of pointless stats written down, don't they? And that was one of the stats. They beat Chelsea, I think, 4-3, and Cantona scored a hat-trick, and that Leeds' 4th goal, Cantona's 3rd, was the last one that Leeds scored at Wembley. That is funny.
Wow. That is funny. That is very funny.
But on the flip side, at least he didn't score it with his hand.
True, yeah, good point.
He's around that,
Yeah. I do like how Leeds didn't use VAR for the entire season and got countless decisions given their way, which would have been overruled with VAR. The one game where they used VAR, they didn't get a single decision via VAR. That's quite
funny, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, well, good luck, Leeds, next year. Did you see that start? But I think, and again, this is still on Leeds and it's well off topic, but from Kieran Maguire about Leeds' financial situation.
Oh, is it something like the 100 million or something like that?
Come on, mate, cheer me up, because I've had a difficult day. And I am quite tired, as somebody just pointed out. Alan Cox pointed out in the comments there. So this will cheer me up, won't it?
Leeds have outstanding transfer creditors of £190 million.
Oops.
They which they essentially got to settle before they can make any further acquisitions this summer.
And you would argue that given the amount of money they're paying out in wages to the players that they've got this season, that they ain't going to meet the financial fair play.
It'll be a fire sale. It'll be a complete fire sale this summer.
But they're not going to be able to sign anybody.
No, that's what I mean. But they're going to sell Rutter, Somerville, Meslier, Ampadu. These are all going to have to go.
Yeah, absolutely.
But anyway.
That's a lot for 90 mil, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. This is the gamble. Anyway, this is why football's rotten to its core. But anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
We want to give a plug for the Sweden vlog. Danny's vlog went up Friday, where we had a little jaunt over to Stockholm. If you haven't watched it already, go and watch it. There's a bit of sort of travel vlog pre-football, and then there's the football Hammerby AIK game as well in there as well. It's fun. Go have a look. If you want to see Mick really tired, I'm so tired in some of those clips, Danny. I look like I've not slept for about a month. But yeah, go and watch it because it was a good weekend.
There may be a clip of me falling onto a Swedish man as well in there.
Yes, there is the man Mick falling into a Swedish man. Yeah,
it's a shame I didn't get the bit at the beginning, because in one day Mick had a Swedish guy fall on him and then fell on a Swedish guy in the space of like 6 hours.
Yeah. Yeah, do you want to tell a story about coming home with a different scarf as well, Mick?
Well, I'd love to tell that story. But I don't know how it happened. So I went out with one scarf in the morning, which had been kindly lent to me by Tobias, and I came home with a completely different scarf later at night, and I don't know whether it was Tobias's or not, but it is now. So
Yeah.
I have no idea how that happened.
Did we tell the passport control check on the last story? By the way, did we not tell that story?
Mick thought they were getting away with this.
No, come on now.
So we went to passport control because you obviously got to go in Sweden. And they asked you standard questions. What are you coming to Sweden for? How long are you staying for?
Just for context, by the way, Matt. Me and you didn't get asked these questions. It was only Mick who got asked these questions.
Yeah, but the reason being that you two were after me, and the bloke couldn't stop laughing. Otherwise, I didn't ask you.
Yeah. the guy goes, "What have you come to Sweden for?" I was coming to watch football with a friend. Where are you stopping? I'm stopping with a friend. Who are you stopping with? Tobias Johansson. And I went, I don't know who that is. And then just went off.
It was a comment he made after that got me, where he just went, I don't know who that is. It could be some random guy off the street. It was just like, it's a bit foul, but so for the entire holiday, me and Matt, we were on wind up with Mick going, hey, just such and such now, Tobias.
Everybody knows Tobias. Yeah. Enjoyed that. Paula says, watched it, brilliant. Tobias is a gent. Yes, he is. YouTubers watched it, enjoyed it. Chris Page, what's the Hammer vlog? I hope it had a great time. Alan Cox getting another joke. Stay at Tobias Johansson's. So everybody asks us, what are you doing? Just said, do you not know Tobias Johansson? Do you not know him? They'll upset Mick a lot.
In all seriousness, if any of you ever get the opportunity, anybody ever gets the opportunity to go across there to watch a game, please take it with both hands, because as a football fan, it is an absolutely amazing experience. Genuinely, it's an amazing experience, and I absolutely recommend it. And if you're going to go, Hammerby, that is a team to go and watch. No question.
Good look at Hammerby. They're a good club. Very, very good club for many reasons. Richard Brown says, thought it was how to get drunk information film. We left a lot out of that.
Listen, Richard, we like to provide a public service, mate. Public service broadcasting and all that.
There needs to be a message at the start saying, do not follow the actions of these three idiots.
Do not try this at home.
Yeah.
Definitely do.
Yeah. Do it. Yeah. It's lovely place, lovely people. Even if you do fall into them. Mick. But anyway, let's move on.
Yeah.
Yes, move on.
What you said, so yeah.
Falling into people randomly.
Yeah. Nobody seems to mind.
I've not seen the link. So there is. If you go on our YouTube channel, then it'll be on there. I'm going to split up as well. So later on this week, I'll just put the football vlog out specifically. Anybody who doesn't want to watch three blokes from Rotherham having a good time, you can just watch the football vlog side of it. I'll sort that out at some point this week. Because I did the editing, I'll do a small part of it. Alan Cox says we should do a podcast from the Legends Bar one evening. We could do that.
Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah, let's do that. So we mentioned about the keeper. Paramount says I thought it was how to come as a keeper. Steve film. I don't think we mentioned this. To find out that Victor was leaving whilst we were sat in Sweden was a very bizarre moment. As well, surrounded by people that already knew we were leaving. Basically, it was quite a weird moment. But yeah. Anyway, moving on. There are links of a keeper coming through next week. Potentially, there's rumours of the guy from Coventry, Danny,
Liam Kelly
from Coventry. Joe Powell is another one from Burton, which has also been linked. George Byers is still around. Well, I think that may have gone quiet, but we don't know. So then, this is what I mean about the Steve Evans and rumours. Could be any one of them, or it could be none of them.
There's also that young French keeper, Timothy Lautala, is it?
Oh, the Donny one.
Yeah, the Donny one. Yeah, it was on loan. It was on emergency loan briefly at Stevenage, so Evans might know a little bit about him. And it was a big help in getting Donny into the playoffs at the end of last season when they went on a real run. So might be a possibility of a solid number two keeper, but I've also heard we're showing a little bit of interest in Joe Wildsmith, who's just been released from Derby as well. So we'll see what happens with that.
Wildsmith would be a good goalkeeper in League One. Might be a good goalkeeper at Championship, to be fair. He's obviously never had a chance, but I would take Wildsmith if he's certainly if he's on a free. That'd be a really good signing.
Has Josh Vickers not been released by Derby as well?
No,
it's a 2-year contract when he went, didn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Nick says Liam Kelly's a bit old, but if he brings that experience in midfield, we've got experience in defence now. Maybe a bit more experience in the midfield, maybe, is what we need.
Do we, really? When you've got the likes of Rathbone, you've got the likes of Adofin, Tahi, do you really need any more experience in there? What you need is some pace and some creativity, realistically. Having said that, obviously, if we get any injuries, that could be an issue, particularly, which I know you were going to cover this, but we might as well cover it now. Jamie Lindsay leaving, you know, that leaves us a little bit light in there. So, and Liam Kelly, I don't know how much credence to put in the rumour. I know that it's come from a couple of sources, so you know there might be something there. Hugely experienced. So, yeah, don't know.
Yeah, I was waiting to see. Like I said, Steve Evans seemed to think it'll be Tuesday, Wednesday because of the medical situation, but the medicals where we do the medicals, which is odd. But
can we play for one on a bank holiday? Is it double time or something? Is that the issue?
I don't know. To be honest with you, don't know what the answer to that one is. Harry says weird that there wasn't anything from the club about Lindsay. We offered him a contract though, Danny. So that's possibly why. We were offered a contract. He's rejected a contract. That's possibly it, really. That's the end of it. Yeah,
potentially. I mean, it is a shame to see Lindsay go. He was a great servant for a few years, but must not be in Steve Evans' plans. But it strikes me as odd we offered him the contract if he wasn't in the plans. But maybe that was just to cover our backsides in terms of getting signings and, you know, the whole dangling the carrot just in case. And now we've got people in the pipeline. We've sort of said, nah, we'll part company, which is a shame. But Lindsay will pick up a club in League One easily, very, very easily.
I assume Wrexham. I haven't seen anything about that, but I assume with Wrexham, it was almost there in January. He will be probably there again. Holly says no more Jamie anymore.
Oh, sorry, Holly.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, Nick. It felt like a good time to part ways. He's not played enough over the last 12 months because of injuries, and sometimes not because of injuries. New manager coming in, by all accounts, there's an offer from Wrexham, which I assume is probably more money than we're going to offer him. It just all kind of fits for me.
Yeah, I mean, we covered this quite a bit on Thursday, didn't we? Before it was actually officially announced by Jamie himself. He's been with us for 5 years, and he's never realistically, aside from the COVID season, tied down a regular starting berth in that in first team. So I think it's the right move. He needs first team football. He's a quality player, and he's a good lad, really nice lad, and a quality footballer, and he deserves to be getting first team football. So he's clearly not going to be within Steve Evans' plans by the looks of it. So yeah, it's time to move, and I wish him all the best because I love Jamie Lindsay, absolutely top lad, and a really, really good footballer as well. So I wish him all the best. Unless he's playing against us, then I hope he's an absolute howler.
Yeah. If everything welcomes Wrexham is watching, you'll need to get the subtitles ready because we'll need them for Jamie Lindsay.
Yeah.
Because he's as Scottish as they come, to be honest with
you.
Yeah. Any other rumours we need to mop up for Rotherham United? Mentions. We'll have a quick Euros chat in a minute if we haven't got anything else to cover.
I watched the Scottish Premiership playoff earlier, and I saw a player that I actually quite like the look of playing for Ross County.
Did he feel good, Danny? Did he feel good?
It did. It looked like he did. To be fair,
was he Danny? Before you tell me who it is, was he a bit of a sex machine?
Well, he had very good hair, so I imagine he might have been.
Big afro.
Yeah, not quite an afro, no. So it is James Brown at Ross County. For anyone who's not picked up on this,
he probably won't come, mate, because he's probably living in America.
Maybe, but no. He plays.
Do you understand any of these references?
Every day.
Yeah, no, I get the reference. I just want to talk about the player. But no, he was playing wide midfield, like more of a wing back role for Ross County, and his pace are absolutely incredible down the right hand side. But only downside is that we'd have to pay a fee for him, and I don't think Evans would fancy paying a fee. But you're absolutely unreal down that right hand side. He's only 25 as well. So it could be one to look at potentially. And someone mentioned in the comment that Steve Evans does like a Scottish player. And whilst James Brown is Irish, the singer might be American, but the guy's Irish. He's coming from a Scottish team, so it's as near as damn it. But yeah, I quite like the look of him, to be fair. He definitely makes me feel good, that show.
Very good. Very good. Nick mentioned Herbie Kane, one of Barnes' best players. Yeah, I'm surprised Herbie Kane's been released by Barnes, to be honest with you. I don't know if he falls into the old category of them, but Herbie Kane I think he was good for Oxford, I think, prior to that. And then he's been very, very good for Barnes. So let's not give Steve Evans any more ideas, to be honest. I think it's a bad idea giving him more ideas of who to sign.
Yeah, you don't need any ideas, does it? Let's be fair. You don't need pushing in any particular direction because
no. So
I'll not carry that on.
Moving away from Rotherham United briefly, as we mentioned a few times, the Euros is coming this summer, so we're going to be some Euros episodes. Just to give kind of your heads up on how the schedule's going to work. There's going to be no Thursday episodes for the next 2 weeks, unless something major breaks, which, bear in mind, Stevens is just new here. It's very unlikely anything major is going to break. And then the Thursday before the Euros starts, we'll come back in do the Thursday episodes. This will be here every Sunday, mopping up all the latest transfer news and signs and whatever, but Thursday episodes are going to stop. And then, Euros are starting in 2 weeks. 3 weeks, Friday just gone. The Euros will come. England, one of the heavy favourites. Mick, you're the pessimist of the podcast when it comes to England.
What?
Well, you are.
Right, with the when it comes to England bit that I didn't agree with, the first bit, I'm fine, yeah. It's when it comes to hope, really.
Yeah. So I'm getting excited and giddy because England have got some of the best players in the world at the minute. You're more pessimistic.
I am, yeah. I've been there. I'm sorry to say this. I've seen it. I've done it. I've got the T-shirt, the joggers, the shorts, the tops, the pants, everything that could possibly go with a disappointing major tournament for England. So I find it very, very difficult to get up for it. I'm not a fan of Premier League football anyway, and the elite football. So international football, unless it's a major tournament, I find tedious, massively tedious. But within 10 minutes of the first game of the Euros starting, I'll be all over it. I'm sure, like the rest of us all will, like all the rest of the football fans in the country will be. So we've got a chance, haven't we? It's the bottom line. We've got a chance.
Okay. We've got some of the best players in the world. Jude Bellingham was one of the best young players in the world, best player at Real Madrid this season.
Arguably the best in the world at the moment.
Arguably the best in the world. Phil Foden's is the best player in the Premier League this season.
Yeah.
Harry Kane, who's scored 1 million goals in Germany. You've got so many goals. I can't remember us having so many good players at once. Now that's never a guarantee, Danny. We've seen some very, very good teams. You look at the Championship. Look at Leeds United. They're a really good example of having a set of really, really good players and it not working. But this is the best England team that I can remember in, possibly ever.
Yeah, the best England team on paper, but I'm going to say I'm more pessimistic than Mick saying this. And we know what I'm like. I'm the eternal.
What does this podcast come to?
But however, the track record of England, we could have the best players in the world at any one time, and we still manage to balls it up somehow. I don't know how, but somehow we find a way. But like you say, we have got some of the best players in the world at the minute, and according to whatever supercomputer it is, England have got a 23.6% chance of winning the Euros this year, and that's the best of any team in Europe. The next one's France, that's got a 20% chance. Scotland have got a 0.5 chance of winning the Euros. But I'm having a look at England's, is it 33-man squad that they've released?
Narrowed down to 26 in June.
Yeah, so looking at the initial squad, I mean, we all sort of see which ones are going to be taken to the Euros, I think. But, there's a few old reliables in there, but at the same time, there's also a few surprises, I think, as well. But part of me is very optimistic because they're very good players and we performed really well at the last 2 tournaments. We got to the final of the last Euros. We went out to France at the last World Cup. Well, that's because Harry Kane decided to be an idiot and send his ball in his penalty into orbit. And we ended up losing to the eventual runners-up. So odds are on that we are going to do quite well this tournament. However, it's England. We can get excited for the group stage, but as soon as it gets to knockout football, the older thing sets in of it's England in it. But that's because I've grown up with the team from 2004 onwards, where it was just like, oh, we're really optimistic, and it's happened again. So I'm just very much a pessimist with this tournament. If we do well, we do well, happy days. If not, it's just like, well, it's England, isn't it? That's my attitude towards it anyway.
The issue we're going to have in this tournament is defensively. You look at that list of defenders that he's got in that squad, and it's to say it's bare is one. Is doing it a bit of a favour, really. There are no names, with the exception of Kyle Walker and John Stones. You've got Trippier and Luke Shaw, perhaps. Maybe, well, you haven't got a back 4 there.
Maguire's good for England, very good for England.
He is, but he's a bit of a liability, can be a bit of a liability. And the rest, no experience whatsoever. The midfielders I'm going forward, absolutely, we are. There is no question. We've got the best. The best quality of players there, in my opinion, out of all the teams in there. But defensively, it worries me a lot. It really does.
But that's why, for me, Southgate gets a lot of stick for being defensive, and sometimes rightly so. But that's why I think Southgate's the right guy for that, because he can say to Bellingham, he can say to Foden, and he can say to Kane, right, you do what you do. You're great at that. No, I don't need to coach Jude Bellingham and maybe tell him what to do. But he makes us solid. We don't concede many goals. And I know it's boring. I know we'll probably win first game 1-0. It'd be really boring. But Ryan Thompson says tournaments are won on defensive solidity.
Yeah, we haven't got that.
But we have under Southgate. We don't concede many goals, do we, in major tournaments? Because he makes us solid.
We haven't previously, but I think, that some of these players, like you say, with Harry Maguire particularly, he's getting on a little bit now. He's not playing regularly first team football. It's a worry. Luke Shaw, I think somebody's mentioned in the comments there. Luke Shaw's not played for 4 months. Alan in the comments. It's a worry, and we've got some. I accept that squad's going to be trimmed down, and I would argue some of the younger players that are in there won't be in the final squad.
Yeah,
it's a worry. It's defensively, it's not great. Going forward, it's immense. He's got to find a balance as Southgate. He may be able to do it. I don't know, but we'll see.
Yeah, Nick says we have best attacking players in Europe for sure, but he says Southgate's defensive. Ryan Short also says coming into a tournament a little bit short defensively in terms of form and ability, but I think we'll come up short. Hope I'm wrong. Liv says as long as we've got penalties, we'll win it. This is as good a chance as we've had in forever. The problem is France have got that know-how, haven't they? France have won the World Cup in 2018. They did lose last time out in the World Cup.
France are strong, aren't they? And it's always Italy, isn't it? It's always Italy.
Horrible tournaments,
I can't say the word, but it ends in house. Their way to every victory, and we just seem to fall for their housery every time, don't we? It's not like you couldn't see it coming, but anyway.
Yeah, Nick says needs to give Foden and Bellingham freedom of the pitch, while Rice sits in and bosses it, breaks up the play. You got Mainu, who's had an unbelievable breakthrough season.
What a player that lad is! What a footballer that boy is!
Yeah,
isn't he? He for me is, with the exception of the likes of Bellingham and perhaps Cole Palmer, who's had a fantastic season.
Yeah.
Mainu is is a massively exciting player, hugely exciting player for me.
Yeah, I agree. You got Bellingham, Foden, Palmer, Kane, Mainu, Rice to sit in if you need to as well. Yeah. I'm sure I'm missing one more attacking player. You got Grealish, who doesn't often start, but is an excellent player.
Saka, who's immense.
So I'm missing.
Yeah. Ivan Toney's had a good season. Anthony Gordon's had a good season as well.
Ollie Watkins had an unbelievable season.
Ollie Watkins as well. it seems like the players who in her heads are going to start in defence, like Kyle Walker, John Stones. Like I'd say they're the two givens in the back line.
Your
But
left back's your problem. Your left back
yeah,
is
left
the
back's your problem
huge
definitely. I mean, you've got Luke Shaw, and
Injured.
then the rest of them, it's just
Yeah.
like, then like we say, Luke Shaw's not played for ages. And then I suppose Mark Gay, he has got England experience. Same with Joe Gomez. Lewis Dunk wasn't anything exceptional the last time he got called up during the friendly fixtures. It was against Brazil and who was it? The other one, Belgium. Was it Brazil and Belgium? Yeah, Lewis Dunk didn't do anything special there. It was just sort of there, unfortunately. Looking forward to seeing Konza a bit more, see what he's all about. Other than that, like we just said, defence is where we're lacking. I think goalkeepers effectively picked itself. It's going to be Pickford unless he's injured. And midfield kind of has picked itself as well. It's interesting that Trent is in midfield rather than in the natural right back position, but I suppose Southgate sees him as more of a wing back and potentially even as a defensive midfielder as well, operating just in front of the defence.
You know,
Eze is in the squad, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
You would never, ever in a million years put Trent Alexander-Arnold in front of Kyle Walker at right back.
No, but you could put Walker at left back and put Trent at right back because we're missing left-sided players.
Wouldn't you be mad if you did, wouldn't you?
But who else should have put left backs? Is the problem for England? Centre half pick themselves. Maguire, Stones picked themselves.
If Luke Shaw is fit whilst he's not played, you play in their first choice anytime. And if not, you put Kieran Trippier in there who can absolutely do a job.
Yeah, he's been poor. He had a poor season, Trippier.
Yeah, he might have, but I'd still have him in there. And a lot of the time, particularly with players as experienced as the likes of Trippier, Walker, Maguire, they may have had a bad season for the clubs, but when it comes, they are the type of player. And there's not many, but they are the type of player that will step up at international level. So, yeah, I wouldn't have Alexander-Arnold anywhere near my team, quite frankly.
In terms of that, Mick, people stepping up for England, that doesn't happen very often.
It doesn't, but we've got players in there that do. Luke Shaw is another example.
Yeah, he is.
He's far better for England than he is for Man United.
How often does that happen for England? If you go back to other squads, how often have players been better for their country than they are for their club? I can't remember a time it ever happening. Maybe one player occasionally, but not so many at once like we have at the minute, where when it's England, it matters kind of thing. And that's why I think this is different. Famous last words.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
I think it's almost a failure if we don't win this tournament because of the quality we've got.
I think arguably Southgate will do it that way as well, and that the press will crucify him if we don't win it. There's no doubt. I think if we don't win it, he'll be gone. He might be gone anyway. But if we don't win it, the media will absolutely crucify him. Social media will just be all over him. So as far as Southgate's concerned, he's between a rock and a hard place, isn't he? He's if he wins, he's expected to win. If he loses, he's the worst manager we've ever had, which is extreme. But where I'm coming from with it. I don't envy his position, to be honest with you. But he took it on, and he knows the risks. So, and I'm sure his bank accounts will be quite comfortable.
Yeah. Kenneth Bob says Shaw's good with Grealish in front of him. Mike Miller asks the question we've all been thinking. Has he never forgotten the potential of Jordan Hugill for England?
Second tier pod pointed it out, didn't they? Them lads have got the finger on pulse. So Mike's absolutely right.
Yeah.
To be fair, yeah. Now go on.
Ryan's asking who we think will be manager after Southgate leaves.
Oh, that's a good question.
We'll need to think on that one.
I've got two names that are in my head. One of which is Eddie Howe, potentially. I think he's next man up as best England-born manager.
Right.
But I think if you give McKenna a few years, he'll be next England manager.
He's Irish, isn't he?
No.
He doesn't have to be England manager.
I know he doesn't have to be.
No, McKenna at Ipswich, he's not Irish, I don't think.
Steve Evans for me, definitely.
Northern Irish. Oh, well, born in England, representing Northern Ireland, so he's technically Northern Irish. Technically,
that'd be right. But yeah, I reckon McKenna game 5-10 years, he'll be next England manager.
The name that stands out to me as a guy who's been refusing work left, right, and centre is Graham Potter. A proven good coach, as he did with that team in Sweden. I can't remember what they're called. As he did with Brighton.
Norway, wasn't it? It was
Sweden.
Ostersund
or something like that. Were
Ostersund, yeah. Ostersund.
Yeah. But he turned on Ajax. He turned on a few other jobs. He's waiting for something. Yeah, kind of fits for me. But there we go. Anything else we want to mention? Something else I want to mention about England, but I forgot now. But anyway.
Can we have a little laugh at Plymouth for appointing Wayne Rooney and thinking it's a good idea?
We did this, didn't we?
I thought we'd done that.
Oh, we can have a little laugh at it then.
Yeah, we did this. Yeah, because when somebody put in comments they're going to finish 24th, and I completely agree.
Yeah.
I fully expect not quite a Rotherham-esque season, but almost as bad a season for them next season.
Yeah, I mean they stayed up by the skin of the teeth, didn't they? And then they lost the manager that got them there halfway through the season, who's now got to Stoke and will be Victor's manager next year. So they've gone for the big name. They've gone for the big name and very, very tiny reputation as far as the manager is concerned. So good luck with that. We will be watching.
On BBC that had never signed a player, and then somebody put on Twitter that DC United signed 15 players while they were manager there.
But wouldn't have DC United been relegated if they had that thing in the MLS?
Yes,
but
yeah, be small, I think. But then they get the draft, don't they, Danny? Which is not worth getting into.
American sports confuse me. They confuse Wayne Rooney. That's probably why he didn't do very well as manager over there.
He stayed there.
Mate, listen, it's not going to be difficult to confuse Wayne Rooney, is it?
True. Anything else?
No. Sorry.
No,
Good. Thank you all for being with us. No Thursday episode this week, so we'll be back next Sunday, no matter who we sign, unless we sign £3 million on somebody, when we can probably justify an emergency podcast for that. We will be back on Sunday next week to talk about any signs that you do throughout the week, any rumours that picked up as well, and any other nonsense we can find. If you haven't checked out the Sweden vlog, have a look at that. Like I said, if you just want to watch the football one, I'll put out later on in the week. For all you just the football enthusiasts rather than travel. If you're not interested in pan-fried herring, I'll put the football one out.
It was nice.
Please do subscribe on YouTube if you haven't done already. The numbers are going up on there, so please do keep subscribing. If you're watching on X, make sure you're following us on there. And if you're on iTunes and Spotify, make sure you've subscribed and give us a 5-star rating where it allows you to do so. Thank you, Danny. It's been fun having you back with us again, mate. Thank you very much.
Yeah, always a pleasure, lads. My wife actually held out tonight, so that's nice.
Shock. We're all in pure shock at this point. As with Mick, who's gone the full hour without mentioning he's got a new shirt on. So well done, Mick.
I like my new shirt. I'm very happy with my new shirt. It's
ask him how much it costs.
Please don't tell anybody how much it costs. But you'll be seeing a lot more of this summer whilst probably United not playing.
Are you keeping that? You're not going for England shirt?
I ain't got an England shirt. That's the first thing. I'm not buying an England shirt. That's the second thing. But I may not wear a Swedish shirt for the Euros. I might think of something else.
You see, I reckon the green and white striped shirt is a secret attempt at trying to appease Steve Evans because it's Celtic colours. The shirt design's different, but it's Celtic colours, isn't it?
No, it's not what to do with Celtic, is it? Let's be fair.
Wrong way around. Anyway, thank you all for being with us. We appreciate it as always. We will see you next Sunday. And as always, up the Millers.
Up the Millers.
Up the Millers.
It's a wild through a goal, slots it beyond Fodringer, and the Millers are in front in the South Yorkshire derby. And for the first time in 42 years, Rotherham United win at Bramall Lane. On the edge of the box, the Dolphin, he can hit them, and he does. The Dolphin has scored an absolute screamer for Rotherham United. Rotherham United have secured their championship status for next season.